Hello everyone and welcome back to our Unified Modeling Language lecture series. I am Nadia Patel. Let's get started with our today's lecture. So we are going through the unit 4, that is UML diagram part 2 and introduction to software testing. Let us go through our next behavioral diagram, which is the activity diagram, which is the most simplest, easy to understand and very easy to draw. Let us see what points which we are going to cover in today's lecture. So we are going to go through the introduction and concept of activity diagram. We will see what different symbols we are going to use in activity diagram, and finally meaning of every symbol and notation. So before directly going to activity diagram, one thing which I need to tell you is study state machine diagram and activity diagram at least together or one after the other. These diagrams are very easy and very similar to state machine diagram. It has adapted many notations from state machine diagram and flowcharts. So let us get started. Activity diagrams are going to give us the workflow of the system in terms of activities. They are very similar to flowcharts and state machine diagrams. Activities are useful as they explain what things should be performed by a system. They help us to describe a complicated sequential algorithm. So one thing which you should keep in your mind is, now treat everything which comes in your system as an activity. So consider your system is a popular billing system. We are going to have a supplier details, we are going to have bill calculation, we are going to have product detail, we are going to have stock. So you can consider every single thing as an activity, which will help you in drawing these activity diagrams. So second thing which we are going to show through these diagram is how these activities interact with each other, how these activities are connected to each other, what are the conditions which we are going to satisfy before going to the next activity, what actions we are going to perform. That's it, nothing else apart from these things. So these activity diagram help us in modeling applications with parallel processes, a very important point. If your system is performing some parallel processes, activity diagram is going to help us to find these processes and also to connect these processes. They are read from top to bottom. They show sequence of activities and have branches. They show activities with decision, synchronization and concurrency. Again, an important point. We are going to show what decisions our activity diagrams are going to take, what decisions we are going to fulfill, and then go further and perform the next activity. What synchronization is going to take place. Synchronization is simultaneous working of different activities, and concurrency, what concurrent activities are coming and you're going to perform them. That's it. So if you ask me about what is the concept behind activity diagram, we have already gone through the use case diagram where we have picked up the important processes or use cases. We found actors, we found interaction between them. We gone through the extends and includes relationship and the generalization relationship. But all these things were not giving detailed working of our system. These were giving us an overview of our system. So overview is you explain your system in short, in a very precise manner. But when it comes to going into the details, we need some diagrams which can cover every loop and corner, every single part, every smaller thing and every bigger thing. So these things are going to be completed by using activity diagram. So you can pick up a big use case from your use case diagram and find what different activities is this use case performing, and then find those activities and connect them together. That's it. We are going to do only that thing. So one condition before drawing activity diagram is you must have your use case diagram drawn, which should have relationships that is generalization, extends and includes. So altogether it should be a detailed overview of use case diagram, and then we will jump to activity diagram. So it is going to help us in analyzing a use case. It is going to help us in finding what actions take place in use case and when these actions occur. Now this is a little confusing kind of a part in our diagram. Activity and actions are very closely related. You can say they are same, or in some part they differ. So these are just terms. If you are finding it very confusing to place, what you do is at least place activity or place action. If it is difficult for you to find both and place it in one symbol, just stick to one. Either go on for actions or go on for finding activities. So what we are going to do is we are going to pick up a big use case from our use case diagram. So this was if you're working on the billing system, customer bill is the important use case from our use case diagram or from our system. So what we will do is we will find what different activities are performed by this use case. So if you want to go through this, what you can do is keep customers bill in your mind. So if you have gone through a bill, of course you might be knowing how a bill looks and what contents are included in a bill. So in the first top section we have the customer's name, his mobile number or email ID for optional. In the next section we have what products the customer has chosen. In the next part we go on for calculations, that is the product into the rate into the quantity, and then we go on adding some taxes. If we are imposing some taxes, we'll be adding those taxes. If you're giving some discounts, we will be minusing that amount, subtracting that amount from the total, and finally a grand total gets generated. After that we can show the payment mode. If the person is paying through cash, or either he is paying through check or card or money transfer, we can place that information, and then the bill gets generated and we just give a printout of it. So these are the smaller activities. If you go into detail, calculating the bill, rate into quantity, adding the tax, subtracting the discount. So these are the smaller activities. So you can find those activities and just place them one after the other. So you can find all possible smaller activities from your system, place them one after the other and just connect them. So this is just a depiction of how use case gets converted into activity, but we are not going to do this. We are just going to find what different activities are there in our use case and then draw the activity diagram. So these are the symbols used in the activity diagram. So if you closely observe this slide, it is having many symbols from flowchart and many symbols from state machine diagram. So let us get started and understand what different symbols are. So the first is the initial node, which is a small circle which is colored or filled. Then you can see the final node, which is again a filled or colored circle and is having a boundary. The next symbol is the activity symbol, which is the terminal symbol from our flowcharts. So if you go through these three symbols, this is where the diagram will start. It will have different activities and it will reach the final node. So in this activity you can write the activity name or what action you are going to take. Further you have the decision node. If you observe this decision node, it is having some incoming arrows, it is having some outgoing arrows, and it is a decision node, so we are going to fulfill some conditions before traversing further. So as in our flowcharts we have, if x is greater than y, or you can say if x is greater than n, yes we follow a branch, no we follow a branch. So this is what this node is going to do. The next is the merge node, which is very similar to the decision node. After the decisions are taken, we are going to merge them all together. Next is the control flow, which is the flow line, which is just a simple arrow. Next is the fork node, and the node which follows the fork node is the join node. The fork node is a node which is going to show us the simultaneous users. So if you see, this is just a small parallel line which is having one incoming arrow and many outgoing arrows. And if you go through the join nodes symbol, which is exactly opposite to fork node, it is having many incoming nodes, or you can say many incoming arrows, and only one outgoing node. So these two go in hand, and these two come hand in hand. So immediately after decision node you can place a merge node, but if it is difficult for you to understand when to place that merge node, if you are having multiple decisions in your activity diagram, you can have only one merge node. If you are having multiple fork, you can have only one join node. If it is difficult for you to find where to connect them, you can connect them just before final node. And finally, the last symbol is the swim lanes. If you have gone through the Olympic games or Olympic competitions, swimming competition, the swimming pool had some dividations, some parallel dividations. They are known as the swim lanes. Now let us understand the meaning of our first symbol, which is the activity symbol. It is just, we are just going to collect smaller procedures or processes to be performed by our system. We are going to connect them through flow lines or control flows. They are also connected to decision nodes, fork and join nodes, merge nodes with respect to activity being performed. So issue book, validate users information, calculate bill, calculate interest, such are the activities. If you're confused with what activity should I find and what is actually an activity, anything which is just a smaller process. Now issuing book is including taking a book, going through whether the member is a part of our library or not, and then issuing to it. Validate users information is going to take the information first. It is going to validate it with respect to the conditions, whatever the conditions of the text boxes and the databases are, and then we are going to validate it. Calculating bill is altogether a calculation kind of a process, so it is again one activity. Calculating interest is again involved having a formula, giving some days, percentages, etc. So again a smaller calculation is involved. So these are all activities, so you can find them very easy to find. So this is the activity to be performed and this is the action to be taken. So action to be taken and activity to be performed is one and the same thing. If you see, we are validating, that is the activity. The process of validation is going on is the action. So it is all about the terms. So for simplicity, what you can do is draw the activity symbol and write the name of the activity inside it. That will be simple for you. Now this is very important to understand. Every activity diagram is going to have decision node, which is going to help us to decide something. Like if we have some conditions to follow, we are confused with those conditions, we have some branches. Every condition has a yes and no. So if it is a condition, you have to place that condition near this arrow. So if the condition is of yes, you have to place it near the yes arrow, and we will traverse further here. If the condition is for no, you need to place it near that arrow, and we will traverse with that arrow further. So it is just going to show us what branches are in control flows and different conditions. So here is one example where I have taken, if the stock is greater than or equal to quantity, that means we have the stock. We are going to generate the bill. So I'll be traversing to this arrow and then perform the next activity. If the stock is negative, that means if the stock is less than the quantity, that means we are not having enough stock to generate a bill or to just go on for selling that product. We will have to traverse through this arrow. So this is all about decision node. Then what are these merge nodes? Merge nodes are all branches which are followed by the merge node. They indicate the end of conditional behavior after a branch. So soon after the conditions are over, so there can be one condition, there can be many other conditions. So one condition is satisfied, you can add a merge. The next condition is satisfied, you can add another merge. Or for simplicity, complete all your decision nodes and then finally add a single merge node which is collecting every branch together, and then go to your final state. They indicate the end of conditional behavior. So one more thing which you should observe is, decision node is having one incoming arrow, it is going to have a decision, and it is having many outgoing arrows. Similarly, merge node is having, in contrast to decision node, many incoming arrows. It is going to merge them together and go to final state. So it is having only one outgoing arrow. This is how you should analyze a decision and merge node. One more difference is, decision node will always have a condition near it. Merge node will not have any condition near it. So when you are giving an input, it is going to divide it into n number of outputs. When you are giving all the inputs together, it will collect them and just forward them. This is a basic difference between the two. Similarly, fork and join node come in pair, or you can say one after the other. The fork node shows us the simultaneous multiple activities or the concurrent activities which are working at the same time. The join node combines all the activities together just before the final state. So as you can see, if you think that, say for example, calculating bill is one activity. So calculating bill is going to have calculating rate into quantity, adding the tax and subtracting the discount. So these three things will be followed, or these three things will occur at the same time. After that you will go to generate bill. So between calculate bill and between generate bill, we are going to perform these three smaller activities, and they take place simultaneously. So if you find such simultaneous activities performing in your system, there can be n number of activities. Find them, add a fork node, add which activity is occurring before it, write down all the activities which are taking place at the same time, immediately join them, join all the divided activities together, and then pass it on to the next activity. If joining them together is not coming immediately after that, say for example, after calculating total we are doing something, after calculating tax we are performing something, after giving discount we are doing something, then you cannot make use of join node immediately. So one simple thing to do is place your merge and join nodes just before the final state. That can be simple. So that's it. This was all about the overview, the explanation of activity diagram and meaning of every symbol. Do not forget to write down every single point which I told you while drawing the diagram and the concept. The difference between decision node and merge node is very important. The difference between the fork and join is very important. Write it down so that it remains in your mind, and then that can be beneficial for you while drawing your project's diagram. So thank you. If there was any disturbance of sound, please avoid it. So thank you for listening.